I'm Pastor Tim. This is Ask a Pastor Anything, where we would love to hear your questions that you'd like to ask a pastor. So throw some questions down in the comments or send me a message. This week's question, we've had a couple different questions that came in about children in church, and especially children in church when you've got traditional elements. So for instance, our church does formal scripture reading. We read the Bible together apart from the sermon. And we even read at the beginning and end of the service, corporate prayers, just written prayers. Why do that? Particularly, isn't that like the worst thing we could do for kids? Now, how do we pass the faith on to kids, and is this us like really missing? We think the church is a family, and so we think the family should gather together and worship. So we actually want the main service to be for everyone. We think one of the main ways kids learn is through example. In other words, if kids want to learn to worship, they need to see mom and dad worship. Kids want to learn to love the Bible, they need to see mom and dad love the Bible. So in Scripture, we see over and over this model where God says, do this stuff in obedience to me. And then when your kids ask, so he said, put a stack of rocks in a place where I delivered you. And your kids say, what's with the rocks? You say, well, this is when God, and you tell the story. So questions and answers, rote recitation of the telling the story, and parents being the ones passing the faith to the kids is what we see all through the Old Testament and carried forward into the New. We see kids present in the worship of the church in the New, and we see kids present in archaeological digs. We find what church looked like historically. Until the last, maybe 200 years or less, kids always worship together. So now if I'm all for that, and I think this is how you pass the faith, right? See it, tell it. One of the things about kids is, especially at a young age, they're all soak. They memorize, they listen, and they recite, and then they unpack it as they grow. And so I hope they like my sermons, but I bet they're gonna have to get older until that's useful. But right now they can hear the word and memorize the word. And they can learn to pray by example prayers that will become the foundation for creative prayers they're gonna say the rest of their life. So it's not either or. It's actually, we think, if you wanna raise a whole family in the faith, you need to go to the biblical model that we see in the Old Testament carried forward into the New, where we read the scripture together out loud, and we recite good biblical prayers as models for those watching eyes who are learning how to walk and follow Jesus for themselves as they grow older.